We are in the kitchen. I feel like it's been forever since I've been in the kitchen with you. It is a Tuesday night and it's a busy night. We've got after school activities tonight. We've got soccer, we've got swim. I have to get dinner going quickly, but I really wanted to share this with you because while I'm gonna try to do this fast, I am really looking forward to eating this dinner. So spring is here, spring is sprung, and look what I got. Look at those babies. For those of you who don't know what these are morel mushrooms. These are like the creme de la creme of mushrooms in the fungi world, and they only come out in the spring for a few weeks every year. Usually when the soil temperatures are above 50 degrees, and they grow in certain areas of the country, they grow under certain trees, they grow on the ground. And we foraged these 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. The little baby ones I got yesterday, but the bigger ones we got, I guess, 2 days ago now. And so we are going to have a delicious dinner of sauteed morel mushrooms, sauteed bok choy with some shallots. This is bok choy from our garden at the homestead. I harvested this last night and I washed it. It's baby bok choy. There's a bunch in here. Grew these from seed last fall. And I have a London broil that has been marinating for over 24 hours. So we're gonna get the London broil in the oven under the broiler. We're also gonna make a risotto. That's where the mushrooms are gonna kind of top this Parmesan risotto. We're gonna get that started and then the greens will just kind of wilt down and saute with some shallots. So let's start with slicing our onion and getting the risotto going. So I will link the risotto recipe down below. I'm just making 4 servings. But risotto is arborio rice with chicken stock and then usually a little white wine. I am not using white wine tonight because I just don't feel like opening a bottle for the half a cup I will need. I'm gonna replace that with chicken stock. But we've diced half of an onion. We're gonna get that sauteing with some butter, and then we will add our arborio rice just to kind of toast that a bit with some garlic, and then we'll start adding the stock. I'm gonna take about 4 tablespoons of butter and about a tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic. This is garlic that we grew in the garden, and I preserved it in olive oil, like really chopped finely in olive oil. I kept it in the fridge, and I am loving this quick hack for cooking with fresh garlic. All right, while that's melting, we're gonna go ahead and get the London broil in my Pyrex dish here. So the marinade that it's been sitting in has been a mixture of coconut amino, so you could use soy sauce also, Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of olive oil, dehydrated onion, and then I think there's some basil and parsley. And I did a splash of vinegar. Just gonna pour a little bit of that on here. I am going to be broiling this, but I'm also going to be using my meat thermometer here just so that I can get a really good reading right in the middle of the meat. All right, I'm going to let that sit here. I'm going to turn the broiler on. Broiler on. All right, so we've got our garlic and butter. I'm going to add in our onion. Get that nice and soft. I just think this is such a really exciting dinner because of the morels. I mean, let's face it, the morels are what make it. I have found morels on our property in the past, but this year, I mean, this is the most and the biggest morels I have ever found. And so I wanted to make a dinner that really highlights the amazingness, deliciousness of them, but also just kind of welcomes in spring. What would have been awesome as well is if I had some ramps to add to my sauteed morels. I am growing ramps at the land. I planted 100 bulbs last fall, but I don't dare harvest any yet. In fact, I'm hoping to get some more ramp seeds and bulbs this fall. I want to have a huge ramp patch, and I don't want to start harvesting anything until I know I've got a good sustainable patch going. So while we are cooking the onions and garlic, we're just really softening them. We're not browning them, we're not caramelizing them, we're just softening them. I'm going to be adding 1 cup of arborio rice. Now, if you're unfamiliar with arborio, it's kind of like a little kind of plumpish rice. It's not the long grain, and it's specifically for risotto. You toast it, and then you start adding your stock and your white wine, and it absorbs all of the liquid. And the misnomer with risotto is everyone thinks there's like some sort of cream or milk in it because it creates a very creamy dish, so delicious. But there's not. That's the secret of the arborio rice, is that it just absorbs all of your liquid and it creates the beautiful texture that you desire. Okay, I'm going to add my 1 cup to get toasted. And the recipe calls for 3.5 cups stock and half a cup of white wine. Now, like I said, no white wine tonight. So I'm gonna use a full quart of home canned chicken stock. That equals out to the 4 cups that I will need. So I'm just gonna get that opened up. Okay, I don't wanna burn my rice. It's starting to toast. So I'm now gonna start slowly adding in my stock. I'm gonna start with about maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup. And we're just gonna kind of continuously stir that until all the rice soaks up the liquid. And it's a repetitive process that we're doing. We're letting it soak it up. We add a little more in. Kind of stir as much as you can, let it soak it up, add more in, and you go until all of your liquid is gone and absorbed. And then at the end, you can top it with salt and pepper. Maybe some fresh peas from the garden is always delicious, and Parmesan cheese. Always about 1/2 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese. We're gonna use Parmesan cheese that I made a year or 1.5 years ago at this point, and that is already in the fridge, shredded and ready to go. All right, while this is going, I'm gonna chop up my greens so I can get them sauteed. The meat is only gonna be cooking for maybe 10 to 12 minutes. I wanna get to about the medium rare temperature, and so I wanna have the risotto kinda done and the greens will take no time at all before I start cooking the meat. I'm going to quickly chop 2 shallots to add in here. All right, time to go add more stock. I have my burner on number 4, which is, you know, kind of a medium low, but just below medium. Don't want to go too high. At this point, I'm going to start seasoning with some salt and pepper. Now my stock is already salted, so my butter was not, but I don't want to add too much since my stock was. I may end up getting some fresh parsley out in the backyard also to top this with. All right, putting the bok choy and shallots on the stovetop. I'm gonna add just a little bit of olive oil and then put a lid on, and that'll just help it wilt down really fast. I'm gonna go on again about number 4 or 5. I need to keep an eye on the risotto, but we're gonna go ahead and slice open our morels. Whenever you are cooking with wild mushrooms, and make sure that if you are foraging for wild mushrooms and cooking with them, you know exactly what you've got. There are a lot of lookalikes out there, so always make sure, check with someone more knowledgeable, but make sure you are harvesting and eating something that you should eat and can eat. With morels, it is very important they be cooked. I really don't know any wild mushroom that shouldn't be cooked first. They should always be cooked, and they should always be hollow. If it's not hollow, it's not a morel. So I am gonna slice these and throw them into my cast iron skillet. I'm gonna be sauteing them in butter, a little garlic. You know, and you can look in the inside, right? Make sure there's no bugs. I've already kind of cleaned these up. This one actually had some bug damage, so bye-bye to that one. But you always want to look through and just make sure everything looks okay. That actually has some bugs. I'm gonna go ahead and get the London broil in the oven under the broiler, just connecting the other half of the meat thermometer. I'm not cooking the morels yet, they're back here. They're gonna go on this burner. I just wanted to get all of the greens wilted first. Okay, I think the greens are pretty well cooked. So I'm now gonna switch these pans and start cooking the morels. I'm gonna go to really a medium low, a number 3 to start. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons, maybe 3 tablespoons of butter. Oops, and I'm actually gonna use the rest of this garlic in olive oil too. Might just use a mushroom to get it out. Okay, all of the chicken stock is in with the rice. And I'm gonna add more butter because butter makes everything better. And guys, I don't know if I'll get any more morels this year. I don't know, like this was a total gift. And I am not gonna let this go to waste. If I need a little extra butter for these puppies, we're gonna use it. I'm gonna start to salt and pepper my morels. Redmond real salt, of course. I have a code down below for 15% off your Redmond real salt order. It is the only salt we use in this house, and quite honestly, it really is the best salt. Found some freeze-dried parsley from the garden last year. So we're gonna open this and add some. This is the best part. I vacuum seal this lid on with an oxygen absorber in here, and it keeps the freeze-dried herbs fresh without having to use the Mylar bag. The Mylar bags are great for long-term storage. Ready? I love that. Okay, I turned the risotto off. All the liquid is absorbed. I'm just gonna add some Parmesan cheese and then put the lid on. The mushrooms are also done. Burner off.
remember?
No.
Yeah, you did. I'm always the
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.